Making sure it says that we are live. I just want to make sure. Go on the Crush This page. Yes, we are live. Set up my phone so I can read comments. Make sure we're good. Make sure it's shared.
Okay, it's not that bad. All right, so I'll take that.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Crush This Live. I, as always, am the Monster Truck Conductor, Brad Shaw, and with me, as always, is...
Cheech.
That's your intro. That's your intro. Just Cheech.
I'll take it.
We are live.
What's going on, Brad?
Good? It's going good, man. Just, like I always say up here in Canada, just enjoying the weather. It's not snowing finally. It's actually nice out.
Yeah.
But how about you?
76 here.
How's everything going with you? How's the, anticipation for getting back out there going for you?
We are right now waiting for for all the states to open up. We got a few upcoming dates coming up. One in St. Clairsville, Ohio, May 15th. Another one in Fredericksburg, Maryland, May 15th and 16th. We got to see what the states are all okay with. But as of right now, everything's really up in the air until we get the okay. But all the trucks are getting put together, and we're just doing it's weird, but, normally it would be wintertime, but we were so backed up during the wintertime to do all the dealerships and stuff like that we finally got, frankly, up to date on what we need to do with our rigs. Our rigs are, brakes are all put down. The rigs are good. Trucks are getting put together. Both race trucks that raced Monster Jam this year both got the motors taken out. They're getting freshened up, put it back in. So right now we're just waiting on holding pattern until we get the green light.
Well, our guest today is in that same waiting pattern as well for you. So without further ado, let's introduce our guest with this little video here. And welcome to the Crush This Live. It is Mr. Jamey Garner of the Overboard Monster Truck. Jamey, how's it going, buddy?
Doing great, guys. How are you guys doing?
Not so bad. Yeah, we can hear you. I was always
there. I was about to, that was an open question, so I didn't know because when you had asked that, we would interrupt each other. But we were thinking at the same time, and we're like, it's kind of like you're waiting on a staging light with your buddy on the other side there, Jamey. You're like, you go, no, you go.
Yeah, I've been there and done that. We've been there and done that before.
So how is it for you right now, holding up on this COVID-19, and how's Indiana holding on?
Indiana's doing good. We own a towing company, so obviously we still work. We laid off some of our office help, obviously, because we're not running the calls we normally run, but we're down to probably half of what we normally do. So all the wreckers and guys are still on the street, still running up and down the road. So kind of keeps us halfway busy. Monster truck guys, I still got my boy in there working on his truck. We've been working on his a little bit, so we just been trying to do what we can and wait till all this stuff breaks free.
So let's dive into a little bit about you. You've been in monster trucks for a few years now. How did you get started within monster trucks? What was like your first entry into the business?
It stems back pretty far. I've drove now for 7 years, but I met Jim Kohler and Chris Bergeron down at an Indy 4-wheel drive jamboree. I was down there with the tow trucks. Bergeron blew a motor, and we stuck around in the evening, helped him pull the motor out, tried to fix the truck. Block was broke. Couldn't really fix the block, so he didn't run that weekend. So we just kind of hung out all weekend and just hung out with them guys, had a good time. Bergeron called me like 6 months later, headed to Tampa, Florida to a Monster Jam show, been working day and night. And he called and he goes, "Hey, would you be interested in driving me to Florida?" Well, I thought he was joking. I was like, "Yeah, I can drive you to Florida, whatever." And he's like, "We'll pick you up on I-75 in Dayton, Ohio in less than like 6 hours." So we jumped in a rig with him, drove him all the way to Florida. And, it kind of started from there. Jim and Chris kind of showed us the way and kind of led us of what we should do, what you shouldn't do. And then they found my first truck, which we bought from the parents, obviously. And, Jim and Chris were kind of there for the whole first year and, trying to help us out and show us right from wrong, basically.
So you did also, I mean, unlike other teams, some teams like to, test and try out and go straight to Monster Jam. You took a different approach than most teams did when you did like the toughest tour and other division, other first quarter schedule promoters. What got you focused on that instead of just going, okay, I'm just going to go straight to Monster Jam?
We watched Jim and Chris, we watched the Monster Jam guys, and, we did Monster Truck Throwdown. Elliot gave us our start. He gave me our first couple shows. Elliot kind of hooked me up with Brian Manson with Toughest Monster Truck Tour, and they were willing to kind of let us go in there the first year and run. We knew we needed seat time. We knew we needed somewhere to learn how to drive better than what we were doing because obviously our first year we wasn't really setting no records or anything. So, Brian Manson took a chance on us and let us run the first year with him. We didn't really set the world on fire with him, but we did good enough that he asked us to go back. And, right and wrong, he gave us our chance. So we had to hang out there for a while and do shows with him. And we learned a lot with them, and we grew with them as they grew. And, the ultimate picture was we wanted to be at Monster Jam, but I wanted to make sure we could run at Monster Jam level than show up and not be able to run hard like we needed to run.
So your first truck, which was the former, truck that the parents owned, they ran it a little bit. It was the concussion chassis. Talk
Yes.
about, how that truck, at the beginning, I remember watching one of the Monster Truck Throwdown DVDs, and you had a lot of shock issues and some other stuff. Talk about, how that truck went for you in the very beginning.
When we first got it, parents were awesome with us. I don't care what problem I had, and I don't care when it was. I could pick the phone up and call Jeff Perrin, and Jeff would answer the phone, and he would try to guide me the best he could. Jeff and Jocelyn were awesome with us with that truck. We had a different setup that we wanted to run compared to what they ran. So that was kind of insult to injuries for myself. I didn't like the truck really high up. We wanted it low center of gravity. We wanted it low like all the new style race trucks were. So we lowered it down, and, we had a bunch of guys that, Jim and Chris that we ran around with a lot trying to help us with shocks. The first year of running that truck, I spent more time at the chiropractor than I did, driving the monster truck. Every weekend we would run that thing. I kept thinking these guys have to be nuts to drive these stupid trucks because it beat me to death. I mean, we definitely struggled with shocks about the first year to 2 years. I finally did a show with Dan Patrick, and Dan pulled me outside at the end of the show and said, "Boy, you've got to come to my shop and we've got to do something because you're going to paralyzing yourself." And Dan ended up helping us out a lot. We ended up putting his shocks on it. Took me a little while to get them dialed in because shock angles and all that, but Dan was extremely well with us, trying to teach us and help us, guide us on what to do. And, I think the second year in Toughest Monster Truck, the truck actually started working really well, and we started getting good air, and then we started learning how to drive and started tearing a lot of stuff up.
So you, big shout out to the Throwdown group too, because they kind of had the track's big air and stuff like that during this, like their summertime heat, where basically prepared you for your future in, the sky high, big jumps. Now you're known for launching the truck to another
Yes.
atmosphere. But how, maybe if someone never been to a throwdown, how is that compared to any other promoter that is around the area?
Throwdown builds probably the craziest, wildest, biggest ramps, jumps that you could imagine. When we went to Throwdown, he was building a brand. We all built a brand together. We helped Elliot build an awesome show. And we were as bad as Elliot, hey, we can make that a little steeper. Hey, we can raise that a little higher. So it was all for the fans, and that was the big thing with Elliot with Monster Truck Throwdown. He does everything with the fans in mind. We might argue with him periodically of, does it really need to be that high this time, Elliot? But at the end of the day, it does, because we've made it as big as it is. We have to keep topping ourselves. There's no way around it. I mean, once you go extremely big, you got to go bigger.
And I myself have been to a couple shows that Elliot's ran. I've got to do some work with Elliot graphic wise, and the Throwdown crew is some of the best. Like, even shout out to Matt Looker, who's watching as well.
Yes.
Shout out to all those guys, because they put on some of the best shows that I've been able to be a part of and seen. Like, their show in Edmonton every year. The years that I've gone, it's always blown my mind. We were talking a little bit before we went on air about the Edmonton show and Jimmy Cretin doing the backflip in the mud. Like,
right.
The action you see at the Throwdown shows is spectacular, especially Mount Pleasant.
Oh yeah, that is truly a show I wish we could go back and do again. I think all the Throwdown guys that run for Throwdown, the whole atmosphere of that, staying at the casino, we had a water park there, me, Kohler, my family, Kohler's family, all the families that went to that show with the Monster Truck Throwdown family. We're a big family. We might be a dysfunctional family, but we're a big family. We have a lot of fun together. That was probably the most fun show, I think, truthfully, that we did, just because we all got to hang out for, a complete weekend, because we rolled in on Thursday, played around Friday, and then we raced all day Saturday and freestyled Saturday, and then we hung around the casino Sunday. So, I mean, it worked out really good for all of us, because we all had a good time there.
And the cool thing also is you deal with Greg Witchenbach. Give that guy a shout out. That guy seems like he gives you guys a good time, but he also, I guess he makes you guys run hard.
Greg keeps me on my toes. We run the same parts on Rockwell Planetaries. So me and him has been trying to deal with our fab guy that builds all of our Rockwell parts, which is Russ Gearhart out of Michigan. I have to give him a huge shout out. That guy builds me some of the most amazing parts you can put on a monster truck. I mean, that's what keeps us doing the big air. So me and Greg kind of brain feed back and forth back together on, hey, we can make this part better. We get with Russ, we talk about it, we try to get better parts. So me and Greg together, you get us at an event, it's terrible because Greg don't want to lose. And I definitely don't want to lose to Greg. So when we're in the trucks, it's terrible. It's a fight. But once we're out of the truck, we're at dinner together, we're hanging out, we're all have a good time afterwards. That's a good thing with Throwdown. We all get along really good. When we're on the trucks, we're all egomaniacs. We want to win. But at the end of the night, we're all still good friends. I'll fix his truck. I'll get him parts. We all get along really well, which makes it extremely nice to run there.
So speaking of the Mount Pleasant show, up to when you debuted the new truck, you were in the concussion chassis for a while, getting some experience, making a name for yourself, and then the Mount Pleasant show, you guys debuted the new chassis, and so you enlisted the help of the twins, the Groth brothers, yes, to debut what then was debuted as a Overboard, but the truck you were driving was Wildside. So, right, kind of two questions here: how did the Wildside name and identity come about? And talk about, debuting the new truck at Mount Pleasant.
Well, we knew bringing the new truck into Mount Pleasant, it was going to be Overboard. That was going to end up being my truck. But I wanted somebody that I knew could race it really hard and freestyle it just as hard. So we talked to the twins, and, they were on board with it. They thought I was nuts. They couldn't believe I didn't want to drive the new truck. But me and the Willies with that concussion chassis, we had something to prove that year. I wanted to beat that truck to death there and show that I could win in that truck, not bring a brand new truck to a show and try to win. I wanted to do something amazing with that truck. So we talked to Elliot about it. Elliot gave us a blessing to bring the twins in. Twins did an amazing job for us. Matter of fact, they took me out first round in the Willies, which wasn't great for me, but hey, it's racing. They were told to race hard, not lay down. So it didn't matter who they were racing. They were told to win, and they did their jobs. You know, wild side kind of come about because me and Elliot was kind of kicking stuff around because we couldn't have two overboards there. And we didn't really want the crowd to know what we were doing with the new overboard because we kept it hid. So we just come up with wild side. We did that in like a month before the show, threw a body together, changed it up just a little bit. And it was kind of just going to be a one-time show thing, and we were done. Technically, it's all we were going to do with it. It was just going to be a one-show gig, and we were done. But as you can see now, my boy's still running it. But for Mount Pleasant, it just worked out good because it gave me wild side to run, gave the Groth brothers my overboard truck to run, and we all pulled off what we needed to pull off that weekend.
Now, let's a little bit fast forward. And how'd you and Cole get together to create your second? Well, it's a half. I always call it a half truck because one side it's Cole's, but the other sides are the old lady's truck. So
exactly.
How did that mix up getting Cole onto your team?
You know, I do a lot of stuff in North Carolina. I hang around with a lot of those guys down there. They're all my good friends. They're all my buddies. We were down there hanging out. My shock guy down there, Josh, with Shocks, does all our shock work for us down there. Josh is an amazing guy. We were down there one weekend hanging out with Josh and hanging out with some other guys, and Cole was in there, and that's after he stepped away from Gravedigger, decided he went driving that. And we went out to dinner, and I asked him, I said, man, would you better to get back in the truck again? And he's like, I don't really know. So we kind of kicked it around a little bit. It took us about 6 months to really get together on, hey, do you really want to get back in one or not? And finally we talked about it, and he decided he definitely wanted to. So I was in the process of building a brand new truck, and we didn't know who was putting in it yet. I had a couple other options that we were actually going to put in it, and we ended up going with Cole. Cole, for what I needed at the time, I needed a guy that could work on it, repair it, drive it, whole 9 yards, and he was kind of the perfect person because the trucks were running in and out of North Carolina so much, it worked out perfect.
So how did the Black Pearl identity come about? Because that's a very unique, idea and a name for the truck.
That was all Cole. I'd like to say I had something to do with it, but I truly didn't. The chassis was all us. The Black Pearl design, the Black Pearl name is all Cole. Cole owns the name. I own the chassis. It's kind of a weird agreement, but it works out really good with me and Cole. Black Pearl for Cole, obviously he's missing the one leg, pirate theme. I mean, it all played in so perfect together. Obviously the first show we debuted at was Monster Jam. So we kind of ran it by Monster Jam of, hey, we want to put Cole in our new truck, and they gave us their blessing and they were all about it. And we kind of said, hey, we want to do this pirate theme truck. I think it fits him the best. And, it worked out really good for him, and the fans truly seem to love it so far. So I think the two ties together, the pirate theme and him in it, truthfully was probably the best thing we've ever done.
And you guys have been rocking it too ever since you guys have been teaming up. But also, I mean, during the summertime, you have Deidre driving too, which is pretty cool also.
It makes it nice because, last year Deidre's drove it now. I think she's on her second year in that truck. When we first debuted the new Miss Overboard truck, I mean, she fought me tooth and nail. I want to drive the Willies. I'm used to the Willies. I don't want the new truck. So finally, me and a couple buddies of mine that helped me out, we did the Miss Overboard body. We put her in it. We got her a seat. We moved her seat into the truck. We showed up at a show, and I was like, get in it, drive it. You'll love it. I think South Bend was the first show she ever drove the brand new truck at, South Bend Fair for Monster Truck Throwdown. She rocked it out. Matter of fact, she beat me in racing. I mean, she ended up winning racing overall at both shows that weekend. I won freestyle. She won racing. So after we showed her she could race it, freestyle it, everything changed. Now she loves the truck, and now she don't want to get out of it. So we're in the process of building her own right now. That way her and Cole really don't have to share no more. She'll have her own truck. Cole's got his own truck, and it just, hopefully it plays out a little bit better for us.
So we have a comment here from Mr. Jason Court, a couple hours away from where I am. He asked, how did you like being the Monster Truck Throwdown champion? And by the way, it was great meeting you at the Throwdown Awards.
Was Greg what? What was the last part?
He says, by the way, was great meeting you at the Throwdown Awards.
Yes. Me and Greg did meet up at the Throwdown show, the award banquet. Greg was late. Greg's always late getting there, but he did finally show up.
Jason Court.
Oh, Jason. I think he did meet us there. I'm pretty sure he was there with us. Being the Throwdown champion, I've done it 2 years now. Every year it's getting harder. The first year I just kind of fell into it. We changed our motor program. The first year I won was in the Willys. I think it was 2014. And, we truthfully never thought we had a chance at it, but it just, everything fell into my favor. It was between me and Greg Witchenbach back and forth racing. Greg had a lot of motor problems, which let me edge him out. I didn't want to beat him that way, but, if you're going to take the win any way you can get it, obviously. Then when we got down to, the Throwdown shows, we just kept pushing harder and harder till we couldn't go anymore. This previous year with the new truck, I always struggle with Willys, so we kind of went to Elliott and said, rather than Willys, can we start doing two-wheel? Let us get a variety here, not just Willys. So when I started winning, two-wheel competition with Willys and stuff and racing, we did a lot of straight line racing last year, and it is truly very, very hard to beat my truck in straight line racing. That thing is stupid fast on straight line.
Yeah, right. It's pretty crazy watching you run that thing. It's just, whatever type of ramp it is, you're just gonna hit it 100%. Whatever happens, happens. I always love watching that.
That's the whole idea, because we do a show in Miami, Oklahoma with Devin Jones every year for Map Motorsports. Straight line racing, very, very fast track. The last 2 years we've been there, the year before last, I won both racing both days. Last year, Cole beat me Friday night, then I ended up winning Saturday night. We've kind of figured Miami out, tweaking, changing a pill around, leaning that thing out to where it is crazy fast. I mean, it's truthfully there. It is almost fast enough. It's almost scary how fast it is.
Hey, Brad, one thing I wanted to ask Jamey beforehand, that it's kind of interesting because you're really fast in the straight line portion, but the tires you're using are still the SIR, the ones that don't have as much tread. I'm wondering, how the hell do you not spin the wheels off of those things?
Well, we changed tires last year. We got away from the old Chinas we were running, and we went with that new Harper tire last year, which was about as close to Ukraine as you can get. Those things are crazy traction. I mean, we could literally, if you watch videos of that show, you could literally just about see the front end come off the ground, coming off the line.
So one question that I have, being a graphic designer, and, I've had some trucks with some of my designs on it, how do you come up with the schemes? Because of any truck that you've had, the Willys, the schemes have been very intricate. How did those come about?
I used to have a custom painter that worked for me full time, and that's all he did was monster truck bodies. He painted Jim Kohler's bodies for Vegas. We changed the Brutus around when you seen the new Brutus come out, 10 years ago. Ronnie Thompson and Tim Thompson, two different painters I had working for us that would do crazy custom paint work. So when we did the Willys, we knew we wanted it very just crazy paint because you had to find something to win the fans over. You know, doing the throwdown shows, I knew we were going to be running Cole, or I knew we was going to be running with all these guys that could run better than I could. So we thought maybe if we could do crazy custom paint work, we could try to win fans over that way rather than winning, you know, because at first we knew we wasn't going to win right off the bat because we didn't know enough about the sport till we kind of got going with it.
Yeah, and then later on, I mean, yeah. Sorry about Jamey. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. When we did Zach's truck, the Wild Side, Zach got some kid on the internet, and I'm terrible about names. I can't remember the kid's name on the internet. Zach, my son, got with him, and we had him completely design it. I don't remember what the kid's name is, but he's done a few other drawings and stuff for my truck periodically of different things of what we might change later down the road, try to go to. If Zach pops in here in a minute, I'll ask him who the kid is.
And also, how did you come up with the wrap schemes for the some of the special events that you do for Monster Jam, like the one in Tampa and Atlanta, where some people are now recreating your trucks in the RC world, not just the original paint job, just those the special ones that you do?
You know, the Tampa was a no-brainer. I own a towing company. Steps Towing is huge in Tampa. Steps Towing is, you know, probably one of your largest towing companies in the world. I've known Todd Steps for years. So the opportunity to run his body a couple of years ago, we asked Monster Jam, hey, what do you guys think about this? You know, would that be okay with you guys? And they allowed us to do it. So therefore, the last couple of years we went to Tampa, we've made a deal with Todd. Hey, you buy me a body and we'll make you a good deal and let me run it. But I'm going to tell you at the end of the night, you're going to get pieces back. And, you know, this year I made sure this year I delivered when we were there. We went into Tampa with our head up high. We won one racing win already. We didn't really know what we were going to do at Tampa, but we knew we wanted to do something crazy. We wanted to have some fun and just kind of kick back and relax because Indy was our next weekend. We were going home. For us on, you know, doing Monster Jam shows, I never really get close to home. We always travel everywhere else except for Indy. It's the first year I ever got to do Indy. So, you know, talking with Todd, and Todd's like, yeah, man, let's do this. So they let us do the Steps Towing body, and then we obviously trashed it there. The Georgia body was a bad company, John Gordon. That's his mom, dad's company. The dealership, Hardy Chevrolet, them people have been nothing but good to me and my whole family. So we reached out to them when we were doing Atlanta and said, hey, I would love to run a body with your guys' name on it. They designed it themselves. They did everything themselves. All we did is put the body on my frame and ran it in Atlanta. They've allowed us to do it the last 2 years. So it's pretty cool.
So in the comments there, it was Jam Customs that did the Wild Side design.
Yeah. Yeah, Kid is super talented. He does the design work, and then we send it to my vinyl guy. And my vinyl guy's like, you know, are you cutting me out of doing the design work? Who did you hire? And I'm like, you know, it's a younger guy that does design work just on monster trucks. And so my vinyl guy was obviously thinking this guy was getting ready to take all his work from him because he's like, man, this guy is like really, really good at what he does. So we had to assure our vinyl guy that we wasn't going somewhere else and doing all of our wraps and stuff. So it's pretty funny.
You know, I you know, have experience in that, and it's definitely cool. But one thing I wanted to touch on is, you know, you debuted the new truck and you had the newer style Chevrolet body on it, the Silverado, and eventually over time you debuted with a C10 body. Talk about how that came along.
You know, we ran Throwdown so long with the Chevy body. Elliot kind of come to me and said, hey, is there anything can we do something different to your truck? You know, we keep bringing you back and we need to do something different. So we talked to Donald with Titan and said, man, I would love to run one of them 72s, but you're the only one that I know that's got one. He hooked me up with GTS fiberglass and said, hey, you know, you have my blessings. We didn't want to do anything with him that he didn't bless because that is his body. You know, he had the design made. He molded it whole 9 yards. So We jumped to the 72, ran it 1 year for throwdown. Then we kind of kicked it to the curb and didn't really run it again. We went back to our Chevy body. But we knew going into Monster Jam in Indianapolis, we had to do something different. We had a 2-day show there, Saturday, Sunday, and I wanted to show the local people that, hey, we don't mind tearing our truck up. And, because people come in on the Saturday show and they're like, hey, body looks pretty decent. You tell you've already crashed it a couple times. Well, then Sunday we rolled out with a brand new 72 body that was brand new. I mean, they rewrapped a brand new body for me, new fiberglass, everything. And then we crashed it Sunday night at Indy at Monster Jam. So we just wanted to do something special and different at our hometown show. We watched Greg and Kohler do all these crazy bodies, and I'm like, I want to get involved in this. I want to do something different too.
So that was planned. A lot of people always thought that, since you trashed the truck that Saturday night, they thought that it was just put there just for a last second gig, not knowing that you actually planned on doing that weekend.
We planned it, me and my little teammate Cole's like, hey, let's have some fun Saturday night. You need to destroy this body. We need to kick this one to the curb. Let's tear it up. Let's not hold back. Cole's always my guy that says, you need to drive. Quit worrying about tearing stuff up. Just drive. And, this year I've tried to listen to Cole and a couple of my buddies and quit worrying about the damages and stuff. We tried to drive this year more than I worried about, well, I got a brand new body on this weekend. I don't want to crash it. I'd like to try to save it for a couple of weeks. Being the owner and the driver, that crosses your mind. That's something you always think about. So when we got to Indy, it was like, okay, the body is kind of tore up a little bit. So I don't really care if I trash it on Saturday night. But then Sunday, the brand new 72 body, I was like, man, I really hate to crash it. But, it's hometown show. So you gotta run hard.
So when you debuted the new chassis, what was the differences between the old chassis and the new chassis that you found, like certain things that you liked about the old chassis and what you liked about the new chassis, and some of the things that you didn't like about either?
There is so much difference that you truly can't even compare them. You guys have obviously seen the concussion chassis. As big as guy as I am, I truly barely fit in the cab. The new truck, the cab is so big I can stretch out and I can barely even touch the frame rails. The cab is so big. Trying to compare them is not really, it's not feasible because Concussion builds a very nice chassis. They do. It is a nice truck. It got me to where I started. It got me to where I am today. Eddie that builds my chassis now, it's a completely different animal. It's comparing apples to oranges. The new truck, it lands so much better. The shock packages, the shock angles, we changed so many things that, the biggest thing I like about the new truck, the room in the cab. I can get in and out of the cab without, freaking out. The old truck, when it rolled over, it was a nightmare to get out of that thing. I'd be kicking the windshield out, trying to crawl out the windshield or the door or anything I could. So kind of just unbelievable differences between the two.
As a big dude myself, that would be heaven, I feel like.
Well, and that's the thing, we put some people in that Willys. Matt Looker's been in the Willys. We put some bigger guys in that Willys. Greg Witchenbach. I put Greg Witchenbach in that truck one weekend, and I said, I'm going to tell you what, I'll buy steak dinner tonight. I'm going to put your seatbelt, your Hans, your helmet, steering wheel, whole 9 yards. You get in the truck. If you can get out of that truck in less than 3 minutes without killing yourself, I'll buy you dinner. Needless to say, I didn't buy dinner that night. There is a trick in and out of that truck. So that was a big reason of why I wanted the new truck. And, it worked out perfect when the new truck came available. So we bought it, put my wife in the Willys, which she was a whole lot smaller than I was. And then we ended up moving her up to a brand new truck. And then Zach took over the Willys I think Zach drove it for almost 2 years. So worked out pretty good. So
now, you and Greg and I think Shane England, a few of them are running the Rockwell setup. What got you intrigued with the Rockwells instead of going to like a Galleon or a Clark or even maybe trying to run ZFs?
That's what I started with. When I bought the parent truck, it had Rockwells. So we kept trying to upgrade it and make it better. I met Russ Gearhart out of Michigan. We were doing a Michigan show. Russ come up and said, man, I got something I want you to look at. I've been working on some Rockwell parts. I want to see what you think. And he built a set of knuckles. That's where it started. I bought 4 knuckles off of him. Then I started talking to him. He goes, what do you want next? And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know enough about monster trucks. It was the first year we owned it. So then he started building me spindles. Well, we started watching, all the guys we ran with were breaking planetary gears, sun gears, and all this kind of crazy stuff in Clark's. Rockwells, we don't break them. So I kind of hooked up with Greg Witchenbach and, with Russ Gearhart telling me, I'm telling you, these Rockwells are pretty durable. I think I'd stick with them rather than go to Clark's. So we hung out with them, and, we've been building and building and building. And I truly think, watching us run week in, week out, that we've pretty well proved that they are as good as a Clark, especially for us, because we have parts for them and we can rebuild them and we know them inside and out. So we just always stuck with it and felt pretty comfortable with them.
So we got a couple of questions here. People are starting to ask some questions. We got one from Mr. Frank Kreml. His question is, Jamey, what was the tipping point where you decided to make the jump and start your own team?
Well, hanging out with Kohler and them guys, we kept seeing we wanted to do it, and we truly did. And Jim and Chris and them guys are such good guys that, I knew as long as I got a truck that they could help us do it. So that's what got us kind of pushed to the first truck. Then once we started running the first truck, we realized, honestly, it's the almighty dollar. 2 trucks and a trailer, you could actually make a go of it. 1 truck running up down the road, it was killing me price wise, because the shows don't pay enough for a single truck to run up down the road. So that's when we decided to do a team and get 2 of them out there and try to make it a little bit more feasible, run up down the road, help with fuel mileage, pay for fuel and all that, which it definitely helped there.
And then another question we're gonna we'll ask that later. But with everything that you're going on with your team, you're expanding to a 4-truck team. A lot of teams stop at 4 trucks. The Hall brothers, Kohler, Creedon. Are you branching out? Maybe gonna do some local shows where it's just gonna be? Are you planning on doing your own shows with your 4 trucks, just locally, or?
No, we're not a promoter. We don't want to be a promoter, and we're not going to be a promoter. I think that's mixing some bad things together. We run monster trucks. We don't put our shows on. I don't want to step on the people's feet that got us to where we are. Elliot Miller with Throwdown's been amazing with us. Brian Manson that does his shows. You wouldn't want to step on their feet because they were good enough to get you to where you are. So it's the concept. No, Jim Kohler, he's got 4. You don't see him out doing his own shows. I think it's mixing with stuff that we shouldn't mix with, We
got another question / comment here from one Matt Looker. Yeah. When's that one-off Cheesecake Factory body coming out?
Well, unfortunately, the cheesecake for me is about done. I went on a diet plan right after about Thanksgiving. I've lost right at 65 pounds. I feel better in a truck. I drive better, I feel. So I think the Cheesecake Factory for me is probably about done this for quite a while.
I know the Throwdown crew loves, especially in the Canada shows, going to the keg right after the shows, or
oh man, and every Canada show I've ever done with Elliot, we would end up at the keg, which I can still do the keg, and we still do Cheesecake Factory, but you just got to be smart of what I eat now, rather than going and eating what we always wanted to eat. Now you got to be a little bit more cautious about it, obviously.
If you've been to the keg, you know how good it is.
Oh my God, they took me when I did Toronto. Elliot met me up there and just hung out all weekend helping me out, and they took me over the keg, and I was like, that place is unbelievable. That's That's what sold me on doing the London show. Elliot had to bribe me with food because I was like, man, I'm not going back to Canada. I had a rough way getting in and out of Canada. Getting in Canada was easy. Getting back in the United States through the border was terrible for us. I was like, I'm never going back. We're not doing it. Elliot ended up bribing me with food. It's terrible.
It goes straight to your heart, literally.
Yes, it does.
Food.
You know, it's all about the food.
But also, we got one comment from Tina Smith. He said that his number one fan, Scotty's watching. So, all nothing.
Awesome.
He's watching.
Scotty is an awesome kid. I met him over in Ohio. Matter of fact, I think I've gave him a few trophies too, Scotty. So, hopefully we get to see you this summer, buddy.
So, one thing that I always like to ask here, I guess, this is a question for me. Since you've been to Canada, have you had Tim Hortons?
No, I'm not a big coffee person. I'm not. No.
I normally try to ask, Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts, because me being
I don't do either one. Either one I don't do. So I'm terrible about that.
Now,
I'm about to
brought
move
back
with you.
stories.
Phone's gonna die on us if we ain't careful.
Oh no! Now a quick,
I'm just
quick
moving.
question.
Real quick. Keep going. I got you.
Okay. All right. Now you mentioned about your guy. You had your painters do all the Avenger World Finals. What came up with the ideas for some of the schemes? Because I think some of the times Jim said just go after it. You guys do your own thing, and I'll see it when it's done, and then he debuts it because it's some awesome paint schemes.
When we originally first started doing them, John would give me a collar, and I would have to stick with the collar he gave me. The very first one we ever did was the candy red one. And Jim had no idea what it was going to be. None at all. He just knew it was going to be a red vehicle. Had no idea what kind of red, anything else. So obviously we kind of went nuts with that thing because we did the candy red. We painted on that first body we did for him. I think we painted on that thing for almost 2 months straight. And I mean, we went nuts with it. Matter of fact, if you can ever get Jim to talk to you about it, when he showed up, he truly was not going to run it. He thought I was completely nuts, lost my mind, that we spent that much time and effort into custom painting the body just for him to go trash it. And, we didn't really argue, but we stood inside my shop and I'm like, Jim, you got two choices. You either run it, or we're going to knock it off the shelf that it's sitting on and I'm going to destroy it here. So you can either run it, destroy it, or I'll destroy it for you. And then from there, we did the yellow body, and he had some bad luck leaving my shop that night. He got over in Illinois, over off I-70 around Effingham, Illinois, and got involved in a semi crash. So we busted over there in one of our large wreckers, picked him up, brought him back to our shop, put him in a rental semi on a Sunday, which is unheard of, and sent him out to the World Finals. So the following year, we painted one to match my tow truck to try to say, hey, thank you, and man, I appreciate everything you guys do for us.
I think my favorite one that you guys have done is the red one. I love candy apple red.
Yes.
That color can look so good in any light. And like the hot rod inspired and everything, it was like my ideal Avengers scheme at the time.
I truly probably like the red one the most because it was obviously the first one we ever did. Trying to get my phone adjusted. First one we ever did, so it meant more to me probably because it was the first one. But the blue and with the green fender was probably my second favorite. The old rusty beat up one.
Yeah.
Because Kohler had no idea what we were doing. I mean, just till recently, I think the last two that we've done, one or two, Jim's had a complete sketch of exactly what we're doing, whole 9 yards. But until then, poor guy never knew what he was going to get when he come pick the car up. I mean, I'd send him bits and pieces of just little pictures, little tidbits, just to kind of tease him, but he never had an idea what we were doing. It was truly a lot of fun because I would be so excited the night before he'd come to my shop. I was like a little kid. I'd be sitting on the end of the bed. I couldn't sleep all night long waiting on Jim to get there. You know, I'd be back at my shop by 6 a.m. He'd normally roll in by, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And then we'd show him the body, spend all day at my shop, eat lunch, put the new body on, clean his truck up, get him all ready, and pack him back in his trailer and ship him out. So it was pretty cool.
Mine would have been the Nomad. Well, I know it's a sedan delivery one, but
yep.
But I like that one just because I guess my old school background of the Jeff Cook's War Wagon back in the old monster truck days, and it was always unique. It was always a hot rod, and then Kohler came out with the 57 Chevy back in the early 2000s, and then he kind of mixed it up that one World Finals year where he brought out the Nomad or the sedan delivery car.
Right.
He told me the reason why I'm saying Nomad is because of that, but one time I said that, and I think it was in Dayton, Ohio, and Jim corrected me on the spot because he said there's a difference between the two, but I just went along with it because that's how I'm used to is when I see a sedan delivery car, I assume it's a Nomad, but I guess there's some difference between them.
That's what I've always said.
That's my favorite scheme.
It worked out good because Andy Hoffman, Andy's got the mold for it. So Andy obviously let me and Kohler kind of use the mold. That way we could make, a station wagon. We wanted to do something different, not just a 57 Chevy. So, me and Kohler kicked it around, reached out to Andy Hoffman, and Andy was, heck yeah, let's do it. So he gave us the mold and, Kohler made the wagon for us and we painted it and kind of can't look back now. I mean, it turned out nice.
See, one of my personal favorites of like any Avenger was when he went back to the S10 body. Even though myself, I wish it was the square body S10,
right?
Like the late 80s, early 90s. I love those old S10s. I've had two of them. But when he went back to the S10 body, it was a good change, because he's been running the 57 for so long. It was a nice change.
Right. It made it nice. I mean, honestly, painting the truck was fun because it was something different. We wasn't painting a 57 Chevy again. So, it made it a lot of fun. The very first one we ever did, I had two custom painters at the shop when we did it. Had a killer airbrush guy. His name was Mikey Mitchhoffer. That boy was probably the best, and he was in his late 20s, probably the best airbrush guy I think I've ever had work for me, ever been around, whole 9 yards. And them boys worked on it for almost 2 months. And I thought, man, we could truly never top this, how hard it was to paint. So we come up with doing the rusty one, kind of beat up. And I thought, man, we can knock this thing out in a couple of weeks and we can throw it in the corner. We'll be done with it. That patina one was the hardest one we've ever painted to try to get it to look real. The rust, the paint fades and all that. That thing flat kicked our butts trying to paint that car because every day we would paint it, peel paint off, use lacquer there on it, try to get the paint to peel where it looked aged. That thing was truly, it snuck up and bit me because we had a month to 2 months to do it. And we truly didn't think we needed to be in a hurry on it, but it ended up biting us because that one we were painting. Kohler, I think, got to my shop that day at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we were still spraying paint on that car at 8:30 in the morning. So it was still wet when he was there. We were trying to throw it in the bake booth to get it to dry before he come in. It was crazy.
It seemed like it was very popular. It was very popular. We loved it when we were at Vegas, but it was kind of neat seeing him use that body more than just Vegas. He used it for the. It was. I'm thinking of the other throwdown DVD.
That's the thing. They used it for that junkyard video for throwdown. We truly wanted to see it destroyed at Vegas. I mean, that's the whole concept. For him to run extremely hard, do a good job. And, things happen. It happens to every single one of us every weekend. We can't predict what's going to happen. It's a roll of the dice. It's that year wasn't his year to win, so he rolled his dice and the body come out. I think it had one crack in one of the rear fins. That was it. I was like, are you kidding me? That's it? So it worked out pretty good. So he still got it. He told me a while back he took it to a car show, and people at the car show thought it was all vinyl wrap. And I'm like, no, boys, that's all paint, every bit of it.
So as we wind down here, we got about 10 minutes left here. We're going to ask you two important questions that we always ask, if we do the live stuff or we ask it on the audio stuff. And Cheech, get your pen ready. Jamey Garner, what is your favorite kind of pie?
Favorite kind of pop?
Pie.
Pie. Oh.
No, pie.
Probably custard pie.
Is that the first for custard?
Well, he's tied for third. Yep.
Love custard pie.
I got right now
Can't
10.
eat it no more, but I love it.
10 for pumpkin. I got 10 for pumpkin,
Really?
9 for apple, and a 10-way tie. Now 11-way tie for third.
Oh, really? Man,
Yeah.
I guess I'm different than everybody then.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brandon Culpepper Sr. for that question.
Cole picked pizza pie, and we also have one that says don't like pie at all.
Oh, really? Dude, I used to eat custard pie all the time when I was a kid. My mom always fixed custard pie. I loved it. But obviously now being on a diet, everything changes in your life.
Diet? I've never heard of that.
I wish I didn't, but I tell you what, I feel a whole lot better. A whole lot
Hey,
better.
I'm needing to go on one, man. This whole quarantine's got me gaining weight left and right.
The only way I could truly do it is we found a dietitianist. I tried everything under the sun to do it. We couldn't get it pulled off. I ended up finding a local dietitianist, went up, talked to her. She put us on a food plan back in November, and 65 pounds later. It's amazing.
That's awesome. Okay, I have another question, and this comes around Christmas time. You heard these brothers, Phil and Christian Norman?
Yes.
Those Bigfoot brothers. Well, since I'm good friends with them, the question is, are you for or against eggnog?
Oh, no, not me. Nope.
Yes!
I'm against it.
Suck on that, Norman Brothers.
Yeah, can't do it.
Yeah, we'll take that. It's official tie. It's a tie right now.
Really?
Thank you, Jamey. It's a tie.
No,
yeah,
not
it's right now 15-15.
Yeah, that's good there. Yeah. No, I can't do that. No way.
So
just to be clear, the tally between the pie segment and the eggnog, the pie was asked a lot longer episodes than the eggnog. Eggnog happened about 2 years ago, and we're still clicking through. But thank you. That makes my night. All right, I can sleep. Good.
And those kind of questions just happen naturally. We had Brandon ask one of our guests back years ago, "Hey, ask them what their favorite kind of pie is," and it's always stuck. Another thing
you got to have fun. I mean, if we can't have fun doing stuff, that's the reason half of us are involved in monster trucks. We all want to have fun. We all want to have a good time. And what more ways to do it than the monster trucks? I mean, the monster truck family is truly a lot of fun. We all have a good time doing it.
Well, speaking of having fun and getting into a bit of mischief, one segment that we'd like to do has come from an old show back a couple years ago called Monster Truck Radio. Jeff Roller Richard, shout out to Jeff. Hopefully you're doing well, my friend, in Colorado. Is rental car stories. He'd have so many legends on, and he'd ask him, any rental car stories, kind of funny moments. Do you have any rental car stories that you can say, or any kind of funny moments that you've encountered in your time in a monster truck so far?
With the company and stuff we have, we don't really tear up rental cars. We're pretty good with them because they're tied to my towing company. I was doing a toughest monster truck show in Beaumont, Texas. About 1 o'clock in the morning, I heard the god awfulest noise you could ever think of outside. Tires squealing, loud noises. It was just terrible. So I woke up middle of the night, go outside to see what it was, and it was Mike Hawkins. And anybody that knows Mike Hawkins would know exactly what was going on. He was in a rental car, Chrysler 300, out in the parking lot doing donuts until the rear tires blew off the car. So I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. We don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, rental car stories. But we have a few minutes, and we're gonna maybe go off the topic here a little bit of the monster trucks, and a lot of people may not know how important you are or important the towing industry is to you. You have some of the nicest and biggest wreckers I have seen personally, and it's an ongoing thing, isn't it?
Our records run 724. During this time of that we're all in, our trucks haven't stopped. We're not near as busy as we normally are, but our wreckers, they're day and night. We never shut them off. Christmas Day, we run calls. New Year's Day, we run calls. We don't get to shut our phones off. We don't get to park our trucks. They run day and night. We have awesome employees working with us. I have awesome managers that let me go do monster truck shows. Without them guys, we couldn't enjoy the life we have. We have a killer crew here that backs us 100% and makes it where we can do what we do. But it is a lifestyle like no other, honestly, because it's just something that never shuts off. It's like the police department, fire department. We tow for probably 25 to 30 different police agencies. So it's crazy how truthfully busy we stay, and people don't understand that stuff is, day and night. It don't end. You just keep right on running.
So one question that I've always wanted to ask, when it comes like you've seen like at displays, how sometimes, they'll have the tow truck, have the monster truck up in the air. And I've seen it where there's like 2 or 3 of them. How does that work exactly? Like, how do you rig like 3 trucks to be hung on a crane? Because that's insane.
We hung 3 at Mount Pleasant. We hung mine on the top, Kohler's, and Devin Jones is on the bottom. It took us about 2 hours to get it all rigged without tearing anything up, and that was right before Mount Pleasant show, so we didn't really want to take a chance of tearing anything up. You got to have good riggers, and honestly, not bragging, but we have some of the best riggers in the towing business that you could ask for. I've got a guy that's been with me, my right-hand man. His name's Mike Scheit. That guy is probably truly the best operator there is in our rotators, our large wreckers. There's probably truly nobody better than him in one of those trucks. It is amazing how good he is. So I come up with the brainstorms of, hey, let's do this. You figure it out. And he always does. It works out pretty cool.
Yeah, and now you see that in movies and stuff like that. But is some of the a lot of people, I guess, watch the television on the Weather Channel, that you see the big wreckers and stuff like that. And some of the wreckers that you have can lift, some crazy stuff that people also don't realize that, what you have done with those things.
Our biggest one we have is a twin steer 75-ton rotating wrecker. We picked up generators that weigh 60, 70,000 pounds, set them over concrete walls. That's a pretty common day for us. We've set up rolled-over tractor trailers, gasoline tankers. Some of the stuff that we do with them, people truly wouldn't understand until they've seen it. I mean, been alongside the interstate and upright in a tractor trailer with people blowing by you at 75, 80 mile an hour. Every state has a move over law, but when you're out there on the interstate, it doesn't seem like the people understand what the move over law means. It means move over. Too many of us get hit, ran over, and killed. I mean, every single day it seems like there's a towing operator killed. So we get our guys out on the interstate with our big wreckers. We buy the biggest things we can. That way we can get on the interstate, off the interstate as fast as we can. That way we can try to keep our guys a little bit safer.
So this is my final question as we wind down here. I don't know. Are you familiar like with a lot of the past history of monster trucks? I'm not sure like if you were, you probably were a fan growing up or anything. If you had to line up with somebody in the past or the present in a straight line drag, who would it be and why?
There's so many great people, but if I could go back in time and do it, it would probably be Rod Litzau and USA One. When I was a kid, that was my favorite truck. Truly, that thing just seemed extremely cool. I always liked it. Always liked him. Always thought he was a pretty cool guy. He always seemed like the guy that was always winning back in the day. I always looked up to Dan Runte. I've raced Dan Runte many times the toughest monster truck tour, and never beat the man in my life. Never. That was always one I always wanted to be able to say, man, I beat you in racing, but I never could do it. I beat him in freestyle, but I couldn't beat him in racing.
I bet. And the stories I heard about Dan is he'll help you. He'll take the shirt off his back just to help you out, and he's always a good time too. At the shop, they call him D2, I guess, because Dan Patrick and Dan Rente. So they call him D2 at the shop. But it was fun having your son with our tour too. And with us at the Hall Brothers, we don't get a chance to race you and your team a lot, but if we ever had a chance, I think that'd be a good time.
Dude, it would be a lot of fun. The people you work for, Hall Brothers, they have some of the nicest trucks out there, fastest, crazy trucks. You guys with your Hemis, you guys got huge power. I've raced with Matt when Matt worked with you guys. I did a couple toughest monster trucks with him. I did Mark Hall and one of the other boys up in Minnesota a couple years ago when we did a Monster Jam show, stadium show up there. They were up there then. I can't remember if you were there yet or not. I think that was right before you started working with them, I believe. I can't remember.
No, that's the first show, the Minnesota one. I remember talking to you and stuff like that at the Minnesota show because we were parking in the rigs on the outside of that new stadium, and we were unloading and loading up and all that, the craziness that goes with that Minnesota thing, because you had to deal with 2 security guards instead of the one up on the hill. You had to deal with the one guy that was down at the bottom.
Yes, the stadium's awesome to run at. It's the biggest stadium that you probably get a run in. The stadium's awesome, but getting in and out of that stadium is terrible. It is a nightmare.
Yeah. But you know what? It was fun. It was a good time. That show started off with a career of, I'm still with them for almost 2 years. So, and we saw you, we saw you later on at Little Rock, and speaking about that, how awesome was it?
I had a weekend off, and I wanted to come see my son because I didn't get to see Zach run all year doing Monster Jam. So I had a weekend off right before we went to Vegas. He needed a tire because he blew a tire, so we drove out to Arkansas to watch him run. That was the only weekend I think the poor kid broke. Was he broke a planetary gear, which ended up kind of being my fault, but I didn't put a keeper on the end of the axle, so the gear walked out. But that was a good time. I think Zach made it to the final round with Mark a couple times that weekend, so it was kind of a good time to hang out in Arkansas. It was a different, though, sitting in the stands watching compared to being in the driver's seat. That's a little odd for you, I can tell you.
So as we wrap it up here, is there any kind of social media fans can find you on and like, comment, share on your stuff?
My wife and my kid do all of our social media. If they go to Overboard Monster Truck on Facebook, they can send any questions, anything they got there. They always make sure we answer them. Obviously, the social media stuff, they're on top of all that. They're a whole lot more genius on all that electronic stuff than what I am.
And my final question before we go is, maybe it's the complete opposite of what we did in the beginning of our shows, Brad, but I'm just curious, how did you ever got the name Overboard?
You remember the Willies. It was the 41 Willies that we got from parents, obviously. We kept trying to come up with different names, something that was kid-friendly. We come up with about 4 different names, and we start Googling them on the internet and realized none of them were really going to work. They were the stuff that pops up on the internet that you wouldn't think pops up was really bad. So the wife come up with, we did Overboard on the paint. The motor was bored out and overdone because the motor ran extremely hot in the truck. Everything about it that we did, we just went overboard. We custom painted the frame. The frame was crazy. We custom painted the body. It was overboard. So it kind of fit, we ran it by a few people that had monster trucks and said, hey, what do you guys think? And they're like, yeah, we think it'll fly. Names are tough. We get it. We understand. So let's try it, run with it. If it don't work, get rid of it and go to something else. But almost 8 years later, we're still doing it. So I think it's working.
And yay, those 7 to 8 years that you've been running, man, they've been awesome so far. And we can't wait to see what's next for you guys. And, more trucks coming out. And, we can't wait to see you kicking ass like you always do.
Man, I can't wait to get back in the truck. I can tell you that. We got some big things planned coming. We're adding a couple more things. We got a couple more big things coming, hopefully, that we can announce here within the next month or two. We're pretty excited about, just because we're not running the trucks, don't mean we're not working at different avenues, looking sponsor wise and different stuff. So we may have a couple of things up our sleeve here shortly, we're hoping.
Oh,
Cheech is distracted there.
Yeah, I lost you on volume for some reason.
It was the boss. It was the boss that was talking to me. But you know what? It's yeah. Anyway, you know what? It was great talking to you and everything. Bad timing, but it has nothing to do with the podcast right now. It's about a part that he's interested in purchasing, and he's thinking about doing the RC game, and he was asking me a question about that stuff. So I'll answer him after this interview. But once again, one more thing: has your boy been jumping over like everything with his RC truck? Because during the whole tour, you name it, he was trying to jump it. He asked Kurt when he tricked one of our drivers, Kurt, to park parallel, and Kurt was wondering what was going on, and he was almost going to jump his Traxxas Slash over Raymunition monster truck, and then Kurt finally figured out what was going on, so he continued driving around, and he parked in an area where you couldn't jump it. But he was jumping over garbage cans. He was trying to jump. He jumped over. He took the truck and tried to jump over a trailer, and it broke it. But he did a lot of crazy stuff with that thing. And I didn't know if he's still trying to jump over stuff.
Anything. It don't matter what it is. If he could jump over it. Some of that was agged on by us, though, because I had little John Zimmer with me all winter. He's been my crew guy for the last 2-3 years. Little Zimmer was hitting about a 4-foot ramp and clearing my truck parked on top of the pod. We had my truck on the pod, and he would completely clear it. We were shooting video, sending it to Zach and saying, hey, top this. Let's see you beat it. So some of that's insult to injuries. We were trying to ag him on all year long, trying to get him to do crazy stuff. It's good for him.
Okay. Well, it was good. It was entertaining. It was his idea to have everyone go underneath we took a bunch of patio furniture and put it in a pool. And we all went in the pool and got a picture taken.
I seen that. For his first year, it was truly amazing how good and how well everybody fit on your guys' tour. You guys had 2 rookies with you. You had Brandon, you had Zach, Randy Brown, and all of them. Everybody on that whole tour, just took care of them. If Zach had a question, he could go to anybody. Mark Hall, all them guys would answer his questions. It wasn't like they were out saying, hey, who is this young kid out here trying to run so hard that don't know what he's doing? Everybody took time on that tour. I watched that when I was in Arkansas. I was like, this is pretty cool, because I told Zach, I was like, hey, come meet me for dinner Friday night after you guys get done. He's like, well, I got plans. I'm going to dinner with, Randy and a couple others of them. And I'm like, that's great. Your dad drives all the way from Arkansas to see you. But, I get it, because we do the same thing. When we get on tour with all of our guys, we hang with them. It's your family away from home. So I didn't bust his chops about it. I thought it was actually pretty cool, because we do the same thing. It's cool. It was cool to see how all you guys click together. Between the shows, I even seen you out there throwing a football. Just out in the back playing. Everybody having a good time. That's how it should be. That's what we do this for.
And that's why
we also had the Nerf battle too.
Yeah, I kind of
We had that
I
Nerf
kind of got
battle
part
that
of that. Brandon and Zach were finding Nerf guns at my house. I'm still finding Nerf balls everywhere. So thank you for that idea.
I'm finding some. Sorry. Well, it wasn't mine. It was that motocross guy, that TJ Tiffany, that got guns and stuff. It was at Worcester, and he bought some guns, and then Randy bought them, and then Lindsay bought them, and then a week later we were in Kansas, so I bought a set, and then later on your boy and Brandon bought a set. So sooner or later, if it wasn't for the COVID-19, there was going to be a battle on the arena floor somewhere. Could have been Reno, could have been Vancouver, honestly, could have been Idaho.
That's what we all do this for, We do it for the fans. We do it to have a good time. But at the same time, you got to have fun at these shows. And that kind of stuff you guys were doing, it was cool, Stadium tour is a little bit tighter. We don't get to play around on the floors like you guys got to. So we were kind of a little bit jealous there.
Did your boy tell you the story about every single time I climb in the truck, and I'm like the only guy that goes out and I just wave? Well, Zach and Brandon comes over and told me, it's like, we come in just early so we could go. We try to figure out which direction you're going, so we go to the arena, sit there, and watch you drive so you can wave. I caught on to them, so every single time I saw him, I waved. And then my boss, Mark, chimes in, and he's like, "I'm saying, what's guys going on?" And he's like, "Your crew guy's waving," and he waved back too. And I just thought to myself, even though I'm not yet a driver, I'm a crew guy. If you wave to people, acknowledge people, that also helps the truck out, because then someone sees the truck and they're like, "Hey, that truck, that whoever was in it waved at me." Okay,
that's a big
all
thing.
it is just trying to get them.
Well, it don't matter if you're the crew guy, the driver. It don't matter. I mean, we all got to remember when we're in trucks, it's all about the fans. Half the time after rounds of racing, when we would nose into the stadium or right after intros, you nose into the wall waiting on your turn to back out to go race. The fans are up there waving at you as you're facing them. Wave back, pay attention to them, give them thumbs up, do something to interact with them. They love it. That's what they're there for. They want to interact with us as much as we want to interact with them. So it works out pretty cool that way.
And that's even for like somebody like myself who, has worked shows, as club help or whatever I've been able to do. I remember one of the shows I worked at, I forget if it was a throwdown show or whatever. I don't know who it was, but it was like, "Hey, come up and walk with us." I'm just like, "Wow, I'm just, here, help out." And he's just like, "No, you're still part of the show."
Yes.
And as somebody that, doesn't get to go to many shows where I live, it was kind of a special moment. Even I always mention it when Elliot got me to stage trucks for my first time and I biffed it over a hockey dasher.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
The whole idea, though, is to get everybody involved. Even after the show, get everybody out waving to the fans, talking to the fans. Our throwdown shows, we even grab Matt Looker. We try to get Looker out there with us. I mean, Looker he's normally our announcer, and he does a good job doing it. But we always try to get Matt involved as much stuff as we can. I remember putting Matt in the truck one weekend, letting him jump it. That was a pretty good experience for him, and it was something that we wanted to do. And, Matt crewed for me for 1 year at Monster Jam, my first year at Monster Jam. I wanted somebody that knew Monster Jam rules, because being a new guy going there, I didn't want to step on my own feet the first year. So we took Matt along with us, and he took good care of me. He didn't let me do nothing stupid that I wasn't supposed to do. So it worked out pretty good.
And my final thing is I could probably get out of the wheelies faster than Greg.
You think so?
I think so. Being a 300+ pound man, I feel like I could. I am.
Dude, I would challenge you to it. I truly would. 3 minutes. If you can't be out, you got to have a helmet on, Hans, whole 9 yards.
If you have
seatbelts fastened, you got to undo the seatbelts, whole 9 yards. If you can, I'd buy you steak dinner. I'd even take you to a good one.
If somebody can get me a fire suit that would fit my fat ass, I will do it in a heartbeat.
Oh, I got one that'll fit you. Don't worry. I definitely got one that'll fit you.
If I'm coming to a show in the States, it's going to be one
I think I'll try.
I would roughly challenge both.
To
see if you guys could get in and out of it that quick.
I haven't done the challenge that you said, but I have climbed in and out of that truck before when Jocelyn owned it, and it's like a sardine can. It's the only truck I know that I can stick my arm out. You know how tall I am, Jamey. I'm a short mother. I'm a short guy.
Well, yeah,
And,
but Jocelyn was
my
a
arm.
little female. I'm a big fat guy, so my big old seat fills up that
Yeah.
cab even more, so there's less room to work. Jocelyn was a little lady,
Okay,
so
yeah.
her seat was very small. So you put my
Okay.
big old seat in that cab, it fills up more space than what hers did, so it made it really tight.
And hey, I will do it. I swear to
Right.
God.
But still be a good time.
Well, hopefully all this stuff
It'll be a
breaks
good
free.
time.
We can
It's
get
always
truck
a good
back
time.
out, and you'll just have to figure out what show you can come to, and we'll get you hooked up.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm 6 foot tall, 300+ pound dude. I am flexible and I can do it. I swear.
Well, we're gonna give it a whirl then, because that's definitely a challenge.
Well, Jamey, thank you for coming on.
I'll
the live
definitely put-
episode.
Well, guys, it's been great to be
definitely
on
put that
it.
on
Thank you
YouTube.
very much for inviting us. You need to get my son on here one weekend. I'd love to watch that. That'd be funny because he's about embarrassed to do stuff like this. It'd be pretty entertaining, I think.
Well, I know Cheech can set that one up.
Well, that will work. Well, thank you guys very much.
Oh, yeah, I can.
No worries, Jamey. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for being on. It was awesome.
Yep, awesome. Anytime you guys need it, holler at us. We'll be glad to do it. So thank you very much.
Sounds good,
We'll do
man.
Okay, have a good night.
You as well. All right, guys. That
All
was
right,
Jamey
man.
Garner.
That was awesome.
As you can tell, there's a bit of a delay.
The camera froze. Yeah. Well, we kind of went on at the same time. But go ahead, Brad. Go ahead.
Well, thank you to Jamey for coming on. We also like to give a huge thank you to 6B Apparel. We also like to give a huge thank you to Joey Sylvester and High Octane Coffee, Jay Concepts, Jason Ruona, Marty Garza in his book, The Definitive History of Monster Truck Technology, and also Nick Davis of the Back Channel Productions. I'm not sure if we have anybody lined up for next week. I haven't heard anything from Mr. Cheech yet. But as soon as I know, you guys will know. Thank you to Jamey for coming on the show. You can follow me on social media at the Monster Truck Connector.
You can follow me at Dan Agosh10 or Dan Cheech Agosh on Instagram. Told me next episode it's actually gonna be a little bit different. Actually, we did a past driver in week 1, 2 and 3 active drivers. I'm gonna throw this up in the air, guys. And Brad, if you want to type this up during a post, if you guys want, who do you want? I mean, I'm not gonna ask who you want, because when I say who you want, you guys are gonna ask me Tom Mentz or Dennis Anderson or somebody that's really hard to get, because those guys, to let you guys know, they are contracted. They're contracted through Feld, and they have a big information on the contracts that tell them about who they can talk to and who they can't. We have to go and talk to the people, showing them that we're not doing this for publicity, yes, but not getting paid for it. Our sponsors that we have give us items for giveaways. We're going to get back and running on that too. I kind of dropped out on that. It's some tough times, especially first quarter, but now this coronavirus going on, we kind of been back, but I still have supplies of some high octane coffee. I still got t-shirts that I printed out maybe a good 6 months ago, but we'll get the ball rolling on that. But who do you guys want? You guys want to hear from another driver, modern day driver, maybe someone that just retired, or old school guy? I'm kind of leaning for an old school guy. Just saying. I know one comment here, John Gordon. We can't do John Gordon right now. Another podcast group already did an interview with him, and out of their respects, that's the Monster Cast, we're not going to step on their toes and do something that's already happened. So Shane, maybe we already did an episode. If you want to go backtrack on our podcast, through iTunes, Spotify, Shane Egan is on there. We're gonna maybe do a live episode of Zach. I already did a recording with him. We'll try again with him. We'll try to get some materials because he's a one-word guy. Yep. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yep. All right. Okay. Okay. It's kind of like that. But maybe if you guys want to shoot an old school guy, no, don't shoot an old school guy. No, don't do that, people. That's bad. That's bad. We can get old school people. We had plenty. Our arsenal is pretty good. I mean, right now, for you, Josh, we're getting Lindsay Wink on. We have an interview with him soon. So, but it's gonna be audio, not live. So look forward to that on your podcast platforms. Don't forget, we are on podcast platforms on iTunes, Spotify. We also do this on YouTube. I don't know about Google Play anymore.
Yeah, we're still on Google Play.
Okay, we do Google Play also, but we're on all the platforms there too. But let me know if you guys want to do an episode live. We already did episode with Terry Woodcock, but we can maybe get a hold of him. He's a very busy man with Hollywood and all that, and all the classic monster trucks and stuff like that. Terry's a pretty busy man, but hopefully we can get him on. We'll try to get other people.
Levi, right there, a tech or a former tech. I'd like to get Matt Lugger on here, and because he knows quite a bit about the history of monster trucks. He's an old school fan. Matt would be good. There was a comment for Elliot Miller. If Elliot wants to come on and talk about the history of throwdown and Michigan monster trucks, I'd love to hear that one. It doesn't have to be a driver.
There's a lot of good names like Pablo Huffbaker,
Barry Parkin,
right? But I mean, last week we did last week we did Jeff Sins also. So yep. I'm just saying it's nothing new. We have done it before. It's not no surprise. We have done crew chiefs also. I mean, heck, I'm a crew chief. We're on the whole show. So if you want to ask me questions.
And I'm a graphic
designer.
Don't forget
about that I work on the Raminator truck.
It doesn't have to be a driver, guys. It could be anybody in the industry, and we want to interview anybody.
I mean, they're giving suggestions. Brad, they're giving suggestions about that right now.
I know, and I'm reading them. Like I mentioned, Barry Parkin, Albertan like myself. I'd love to have him on. I want to get Jason Court on with the Roughneck truck. Ask him some stuff.
But right now, I want to know, before I mention names, because the first question I got you guys was a modern, just left the company, or old school guy. Don't be mention names. I'll get one of those three in. But I just need a tally on what you guys want to see. If Brad, if you want to do a poll, maybe on the Crush's page. Modern right now, who's ever racing or just retired. I mean, I understand people is giving me names, but it's how you contact people. Right now, I gotta get a hold of people and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. One person mentioned Dan Rente and Larry Swim. That could be possible, but let's see what you fans want. You guys want a new up to date driver? You want someone that just retired, like up to date? We just got done like doing Jamey over, maybe Greg Wutchenbach, just retired, Dan Rente. Or, like, for instance, the old school one, like, Mike Wine. We always done Mike, but just saying, maybe Mike Vauders. Mike Vauders fits all three categories. But just, let's see what you guys want to do. And then I'll feed back and see what I can come up with the magic pot. Because right now, next week, I could possibly have John Seasock. So if you guys want to see John Seasock, let me know. He's one phone away, guys. I was worried that something would pop up on the phone and it'd probably be bad. So one show away. One.
I was going to mention, the one thing.
You're right.
The one thing with this podcast that when I approached Dan to do this, it's for the fans, made by the fans. It's for you guys by fans. Me and Dan are fans. Even though Dan works on a truck and, I've done what I've done in the business, we're all fans. That's first and foremost what this podcast is about. It's for you guys. Something for you guys to listen to going to shows, or it's for you guys. So tell us who you guys want us to see, and we'll try to get them on as best as we can.
Yeah, I'm just saying goodbye to Jamey. He said it was thank you, but yeah. I mean, looks like we got a couple people that are interested in John Seasock. I'll get a hold of him right now, and let's make this happen. If we do another video, don't use "Kickstart My Heart" because that was John Grinder's theme song for Monster Jam.
I'll choose something different.
So
That's
that would be,
by the way, shout out to Aaron Lurie for making that video for us. That was awesome. Hopefully we'll be able to work with him more, get some cool videos for this. And yeah, and this was a good one, man. We're getting better each week. And hey, shout out to the Monster Cast guys. Go check out what they're doing. They're doing a cool, kind of like challenge right now. And, you might see some handsome fellows sometime soon. So stay tuned to that.
I'm not on it. Just to let you guys know. It's just Brad.
No. Yeah, this rugged.
I missed out on this video.
Just
Brad. It's Brad. Brad did the whole thing. He got contact with Cam. It's pretty cool for this trivia question thing competition that they're doing. But yeah, I mean, I missed out on it. So
yeah, sadly.
Brad's right now carrying the flag for us. So it's all good though. But take a look at that. Good luck to all the people that are doing that too. I don't know what it's the Monster Cast. Stay shelter in place. Stay at home. Discount tire monster truck stuff. Question. I don't know. I can't read my own handwriting. So
well, again, guys, thank you so much thank you guys all so much for coming on.
Actually, question.
Yeah.
One more question. Brad, I was thinking, why not have anyone on next week, but let's do a video or one of our video things.
A watch along?
Let's pick. Yeah, let's do a watch along next week.
Okay. So we're gonna do that, but unfortunately, I can't share the footage on our screen. It's a little bit laggy. So what you guys will have to do is me and Cheech will find a video, and we'll post it in the comments, and you guys watch it along with us at the exact same time. You guys can be involved in one of our watch-alongs. We did one of Monster Trucks 2000, the new Thrillenium, and Big, Bad, and Blown. We could do any Monster Truck related video. So let us know what you guys want to watch. We can choose one, or you guys choose one. So next week, the same time.
It's up to you guys. So hold up. Sorry, Brad. Let's do that. You guys pick. You guys want to do a watch along, or you guys want a guest? It's up to you. Now we're gonna throw away the other one. This is split down to two. So if we do the watch along, Brad, you pick which one we're gonna be watching.
Okay.
And we go from there.
Which I already have one in mind.
Okay. All right. So if they pick a guest, I'll try my best to get John Seasock on next week. And if he says he okay, then we'll start plugging that way. But it's up to you guys.
And I'll announce the video that we might do a watch along to if I can find it. Is the classic. I remember getting this on VHS for Christmas one year. There Goes a Monster Truck. The classic.
Oh,
that video when I was a little kid was like everything. So if I can find it on YouTube, we'll watch that. If not, we'll find something else. So we'll put up a poll as soon as we're done live here. We'll put up a poll and see what you guys want. If you want a watch along or do a live podcast with somebody.
I'm down with that. Yeah. So I mean, we're having fun. Just vote away. We'll do a poll. It's nothing big. I mean, I'm just saying the winner goes up front. The loser will be next. The next product. So
you guys will still get the interview no matter what, and we'll still do a watch on no matter what. It's just you guys vote in the order that it happens.
Thank you. Yep, we'll go from there. And pretty soon, Brad's gonna get himself a green screen. Why can't you get green window? Whatchamacallits?
The blinds? My mom gave them to me when I
why
moved
don't
into
you
my
get green?
apartment. My mom gave them to me. I can't.
Okay, respect to the mom. All right.
But I will have a setup very soon. I'm getting a desk built by my parents, so the official Canadian Crush This studio is coming. So stay tuned, guys. It's going to look sick once it's done.
And hopefully by the time America's podcast Crush This building, I'll probably be moving somewhere else. So,
well, again, we'd like to give thanks to High Octane Coffee with Joey Sylvester, 6B Apparel, J Concept with Jason Rona, Marty Garza, and Nick Davis of Bad Channel Productions. Thank you guys for all your support. Everything you guys have done for us. We got some shirts on the way from 6B, which we'll be showing off very soon as they ship to us.
Also, the T-shirts. Don't forget the T-shirts.
Yes, so we are on belowthecollar.com/crush this podcast. We have 3 designs up. I didn't tell Cheech, but the other one's up now. It's kind of like what our background looks like. It's a little bit different. There will be another version with actual monster trucks on it. I just wanted to get it up and out so you guys can check it out. Also, shout out to, I believe it was William Arnold, I believe it was, who bought a shirt from us. Let me double check that. I wanted to give him a shout out before I forgot.
He's on our chat.
Yeah, shout out to him for buying a shirt from us. They're only $20, guys. So go support. The funds go to our PayPal account, which allows us to order stickers to ship out to you guys, and also allow us to get better products.
Which I did that.
Cheech just got some stickers on the way, so Cheech will be dealing with the Crush This stickers. We have the new design and the old design still.
It's going to be both. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Brad. Sorry for interrupting, but yeah, the sticker decals, we still have the old school one. I mean, the old version 1, but the version 2 that you have, which is in our background or up and running, that's going to be another decal also. So you have choices.
Which it is this logo, but without the live. So, again, guys, thank you for coming on. It's been a blast. We'll be on next week, same time, same place. Again, it's up to you guys for what we do. And thank you guys for all the support and the love that you show us. And, and as we always say, for Crush This, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up, everybody. Peace.